Peace, power, and souls to activated AF1. Shout out to the Council, United Futuritarian Council members. And this video is going to be on, basically, it's going to be a quick video on how we're going to make the cyberverse go on pause. Futuritarians is about to make the cyberverse go on pause. So now I'm sitting here wondering and thinking, and I said, okay, I'm seeing a lot of stuff on the cyberverse that people, like I said before, once Intel hits the cyberverse, it turns into information because now it's Intel. It hasn't been written, hasn't been documented by AI, artificial intelligence, Google, Siri, and Alexa in the motherboard. So now what the Futuritarians are going to do, now dealing with April 1st, the Futuritarians are going on a 1-month cyber pause. What is the cyber pause? AF1, that's the number 11. That's our number, is the number 11. Especially if you got like an iPhone or Android or anything like that, man, you're going to see that 1-1. It was already, that code was already put in place before the universe was made. And who you think put that code in place? So dealing with the cyberverse on April 1st, Futuritarians is going on pause and won't be no videos for a month. Why you say that, AF1? Because now I'm finna show y'all that the ones that really follow us, I'm talking to the Futuritarians and the ones that really follow us, now you're gonna start seeing that these people that's on the internet, they're not talking about nothing. And also we're gonna be doing some other things that month. We're gonna be doing a lot of different things that month because the video's there, the intel's there. We don't need a validation point by no teachers or anything on the cyberverse, and no extended students or just people that are just AKA groupies. Because now we're moving into a different mind frame and a different spectrum of dimensions. Moving into a different spectrum of dimensions. So now people are gonna ask, like, why y'all stop making videos? Because I'm gonna go back, like these teachers that's on the cyberverse. I'm gonna give y'all a couple of examples of what I mean by teachers taking the intel and not acknowledging it. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because we're showing y'all that once we leave the cyberverse for 1 month, from April until the beginning of May, then we're gonna come back. 1 month, watch all these teachers not come with nothing next. AF1, can you give us some examples? Dr. Umar Johnson. Now, you know, I've been, the Futuritarian's been spitting about mental illness. Go on Dr. Umar Johnson's YouTube channel. He got a whole video about mental illness now, right? But ain't acknowledging the source. Have people talked about mental illness before? Of course they had. That's not the point that we making. The point that we making is following line, following suit of the mental chain of command. Look at the intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz. His last video, he was talking about telling a so-called white man to bow down. Like, you ain't never said that before until the Futuritarians started saying that. That's documented facts through the cyberverse, right? Go back to the teacher Ralph Smart. Ralph Smart, what happened when we started pushing the 1111 portals are open? He did a whole broadcast on 1111 portals open, multiple ones, and he don't even know what he's talking about. And see, this is the point that I'm making, because now everybody's going to have to see. That's why we're going on pause. All the people that follow us and all the Futuritarians, watch. When we leave the cyberverse for a month, watch them be talking about the same thing. That's why I had to give y'all ideas. I had to give y'all factual, when y'all like to say facts, we had to give y'all factual facts that ain't nothing else on the planet. And this month of being on pause, putting the cyberverse on pause, because the cyberverse is going to be on pause. They're going to be sitting there like the parasites and vultures they are. They're going to be sitting there waiting for a Futuritarian video, and ain't going to be none for a month. And y'all going to see them talk about the same stuff that they've been talking about for the last however long they've been teaching. Yep, April 1st, man. April 1st, man, we're putting the cyberverse on pause. And then just going back to the vulture thing. And you'll see that What they do is they're parasites and vultures. Now this is a point that I'm making to all the future ones and the futuritarians, that once we leave the cyberverse for 1 month, then right after, because this is going to be a test. So after we come back on the cyberverse, then you're going to start hearing teachers taking the intel, and then we're going to go back and show you why we put the cyberverse on pause and that there is nothing else. Especially, man, when we put out the video sending the signals out to the ones on the planet. Sending the signals out to the ones on the planet, because, man, there is nothing else after this. I keep telling cats, man, it's over. It's a wrap. Everything that teachers do from here on out, all it is going to be motivation to push us to be on the top. Push us to be on the top. Top of what? AF1? Mind. Activation. Keep moving forward. Futuristic. So yeah, when you're dealing with these vultures, man, that's all they do, man. They just feed. They've been doing this stuff. This ain't nothing new. They just know that the intel's out now. So now they're switching, and it's just like if a vulture was flying through the jungle, and you had this old meat sitting there. You got old meat sitting there, so you already devoured that old meat. But now you keep having fresh new meat, that a fresh kill that's been sitting over there. You're gonna go to that fresh new kill and be like, man, that old meat. Oh, it's the same thing dealing with as above, so below. Same thing dealing with intel. I just named a couple of teachers because now we're living in the age of Aquarius. So now everything's gonna get put on the table, and they just don't want to understand it. Going back to Dr. Umar Johnson, he was talking about the portals in 11 We've been talking about that. Did he say the source? No, because he's a vulture and a parasite. And what's he gonna say? This is exactly what he's gonna say. I'm for the liberation of African people. We already know what you're gonna say. That's why it's so funny, man, dealing with activation. People think that this activation stuff is a joke, and it's not. Deal with this every day, messing with you vulture teachers. So now we're gonna go on pause on April, man, and watch. As soon as we hop back on the cyberverse, I'm gonna have a list of teachers and show y'all that the intel's real, and what they're saying is old, and it's gonna dissolve in the future. It's gonna dissolve in the future. Because the reason why I say dissolve in the future, because if you're not on intel, you're not gonna be in power in the future. Just that simple. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. You can say everything that you want to say on the cyberverse, but you won't be empowered. So that's going to be the test. The test, we're doing a monthly test, and then we're getting ready for some other stuff, because the month of April is going to be the cyber test. The month of May, we're prepping. And then after the month of May, we're going to show the world that we really about this. After the month of May, we're going to show the world we really about this, because now it's time. We done sat in the cut long enough. We done observed long enough. We done observe YouTube. We done observe Patreon. We done observe Instagram. We done observed Google, Siri, Alexa, books. We done observed TikTok. Why do you think that when people go to war, what do? They gather recon before they do what? Remember, I'm going to give you an example, because this is a real quick video, but I'm going to give you an example of why we sat in the cut for so long. When you're dealing with power, power moves a certain way. That's why we sat in the cut for so long. Look at Russia. When was the first time Russia said they was going to go on Ukraine? Don't worry, I'll wait. Go Google it. Don't quote me on this, but it was years ago. They were already plotting to go on Ukraine. And what happens? Right? You send your agents up into the country, you scan, you observe, you gather your recon, you gather the intel, and then you sit back in the cut and you wait for what? To have the most intel possible before you go on your real mission. That's why we sat in the cut, because we already know, man, there's too much power over here. You're going to have parasites, teachers, leeches, vultures, and everybody trying to come up in there, but they forget that we have the scanning process. Why do you think that mechanism was put in place to our junk DNA? To deal with you vultures. This is really simple. Very quick video by the brother AF1. You can catch us live tonight on Podbeam. If you don't have the app, go Google it. Download it. We'll be on Podbeam tonight from 8:30 to it's like 8:30 to 9:30. If we're late, we're gonna pop up in there. 100% we'll pop up in there between 8 and 9. And Also, still sending out the signals to the ones on the planet. Shout out to the Futuritarians, man. Peace, power, and soul. And one thing everybody's gonna always have to remember is when you touch that phone and you tap that phone, you're watching the video, you're gonna have to see that number 11. It's the Futuritarians 111111.